Happy New Week, lovely people. My dear viewers, have you ever watched a cooking video and suddenly realized you weren't just watching someone prepare jollof rice, but witnessing the unraveling of a relationship? Well, buckle up because the Nollywood industry is serving us drama hotter than any pepper soup, and it involves three names that have become the subject of every gossip session: Maurice Sam, Pearl Watt, and the ever-present shadow of Sonia Uche. What started as whispers in movie sets has now exploded into full-blown speculation that has fans dissecting every TikTok video, every Instagram post, and every public appearance like they are solving a murder mystery. The question on everyone's lips isn't about their next movie roles, it's about who's playing whom in this real-life romantic drama that's more captivating than any script. Behind the glitz and glamour of Nollywood's red carpets lies a story that industry insiders have been whispering about for months. Everyone who matters in the Nigerian film industry knows exactly what's brewing between Maurice Sam and Pearl Watt, and it's not the fairy tale romance that fans might expect. The knowing glances exchanged at premieres, the carefully worded social media posts, and the strategic absence from each other's major events haven't gone unnoticed by those who work closely with these stars. It's the kind of open secret that makes seasoned actors and producers exchange meaningful looks when the topic comes up, because in an industry built on storytelling, sometimes the most compelling narratives happen off-screen. When John Econom, a respected voice in the industry, decided to publicly address Pearl Watt with what many described as tough love advice, it wasn't just random commentary, it was the intervention of someone who genuinely cares about her well-being. His words carried the weight of someone who has watched talented actresses lose themselves in relationships that drain rather than nourish their careers and personal growth. The fact that a man of his stature felt compelled to speak out publicly suggests that what's happening behind closed doors is far more concerning than what the public sees. His advice wasn't sugar-coated celebrity diplomacy, it was the raw, unfiltered concern of someone who has seen too many promising careers derailed by poor relationship choices. Here's a truth that every woman over 25 knows but somehow hopes doesn't apply to her situation: when a man truly wants to marry you, he doesn't keep you in relationship limbo for years while he figures things out. A man who sees you as his future wife doesn't need 3, 4, or 5 years to decide if you're worth putting a ring on. He doesn't keep making excuses about timing, money, or career priorities while simultaneously living his best life in every other area. The harsh reality is that when a man is ready to commit, obstacles become stepping stones, not roadblocks. Every woman watching this Maurice and Pearl situation unfold can probably think of that one friend who spent years believing she was in a serious relationship, only to watch her boyfriend propose to someone else within 6 months of their breakup. The pattern is as predictable as a Nollywood plot twist: extended dating periods that stretch on indefinitely almost always end without the wedding bells the woman is waiting for, especially when the man involved shows no signs of financial or emotional inability to commit. We've all witnessed relationships that seemed solid for years suddenly crumble when the woman finally gives an ultimatum, or when the man meets someone who makes him realize what he actually wants. The statistics are brutal: relationships that drag on for years without progression rarely end in marriage, not because circumstances prevent it, but because one person never truly saw the other as the one. It's a harsh reality that no amount of hope, patience, or love can change when the fundamental desire for commitment isn't mutual. Speaking of obstacles, let's address the elephant in the room: Maurice Sam's financial situation. Anyone following his lifestyle, travel patterns, and career trajectory knows that money isn't what's keeping this man from walking down the aisle. We are talking about someone who jets off to different countries regularly, maintains a lifestyle that screams financial stability, and has the resources to plan any kind of wedding ceremony he desires, from a quiet registry affair to a lavish destination wedding that would trend on social media for weeks. His bank account could clearly handle anything from a simple traditional ceremony to an extravagant celebration that would make other celebrities envious. When money isn't the issue, and age isn't the issue, and opportunity isn't the issue, what does that leave us with? The uncomfortable truth that the delay isn't about circumstances, it's about choice. At 35 years old, Maurice Sam is past the age where men typically claim they're too young to settle down or still figuring out their career. He's in his prime, established in his profession, financially stable, and presumably emotionally mature enough to know what he wants in a life partner. This isn't a 20-something guy who needs time to sow his wild oats or establish himself professionally. This is a grown man who, if he wanted to be married, would have made it happen by now. The fact that he continues to maintain the status quo while Power presumably waits for something more concrete suggests that either he's the most commitment-phobic man in Nollywood, or he simply doesn't see their relationship progressing to marriage, and if it's the latter, the kindest thing he could do is be honest about it. But then came the TikTok cooking video that inadvertently became the most analyzed piece of content since fans started dissecting Wizkid's Instagram stories for relationship clues. Pearl, probably thinking she was showcasing her domestic skills in a cute, relatable way, ended up creating a social media moment that raised more questions than it answered. The video was supposed to demonstrate her culinary prowess. After all, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, right? Instead, what was meant to be a charming display of her wife material qualities became an unintentional revelation about the dynamics of her relationship and the skepticism of those closest to her. Flu's reaction to Pearl's cooking wasn't just friendly teasing, it was the kind of brutally honest response that only real friends deliver when they are not impressed by what they see. Flu, known for being refreshingly direct and unafraid to speak her mind, took one look at Pearl's culinary creation and couldn't hide her skepticism. Her reaction was the digital equivalent of that friend who tastes your food, pauses, and then asks if you have any takeout menus handy. The fact that someone so close to Pearl felt comfortable expressing such doubt publicly suggests that the cooking skills Pearl claimed to possess might be more aspirational than actual, and Flu wasn't about to let that slide for the sake of social media image management. The plot thickened when Pearl mentioned sending different food to him, creating a moment of intrigue that had viewers replaying the video multiple times. Flu's immediate response, asking who this mysterious him was, sent fans into detective mode, analyzing every word, every pause, and every facial expression for clues. The question wasn't just casual curiosity, it was loaded with the kind of significance that suggested Flu either genuinely didn't know who Pearl was referring to, or she knew exactly who it was and was calling attention to the situation for reasons that went deeper than simple friendship dynamics. Either way, the exchange highlighted the complexity of Pearl's romantic situation in a way that no carefully crafted Instagram post ever could. What makes Flu's reaction particularly significant is her reputation for being unfiltered and authentic in an industry where most public statements are carefully managed by publicists and managers. She's not known for sugarcoating her opinions or playing along with narratives that don't ring true to her. When someone with that reputation reacts with skepticism to both your cooking and your romantic situation, it carries weight that goes beyond typical friend banter. Her response suggested that those closest to Pearl might see things differently than what's presented to the public, and that the fairy tale relationship narrative might not align with the reality that her inner circle observes. From the perspective of many observers, Pearl has found herself cast in an antagonistic role in what fans have dubbed the Maurice and Sonia story, a narrative where she's seen as the obstacle preventing a supposedly destined romance between Maurice Sam and Sonia Uche. Whether this perception is fair or accurate is debatable, but it's undeniably become part of how some fans view the entire situation. In this version of events, Pearl is the girlfriend who's holding on too tightly to a man whose heart belongs elsewhere, creating a love triangle where she's simultaneously the most invested party and the least likely to get the happy ending she's seeking. Despite what appears to be genuine effort, authentic feelings, and considerable patience on Pearl's part, the desired outcome, marriage to Maurice Sam, remains elusive. It's the kind of situation that makes other women uncomfortable because it reflects their own fears about investing time and emotional energy in relationships that might not lead where they hope. Pearl's story has become a cautionary tale that resonates with anyone who has ever found themselves wondering if they are fighting for someone who isn't fighting equally hard for them, or if they are trying to convince someone to want what they should naturally desire if the feelings were truly mutual. Maurice's frequent travels and lifestyle choices continue to reinforce the point that financial constraints aren't what's keeping him from making a commitment. When a man has the resources to jet off to Dubai, London, or wherever his heart desires, but claims he can't afford to take the next step in his relationship, it becomes clear that priorities, not finances, are dictating his decisions. His social media posts showing exotic locations and expensive experiences paint the picture of someone who has both the means and the freedom to make major life decisions, including the decision to get married if that's what he truly wanted. The "I don't have money" excuse has become such a tired cliché that most women can spot it from a mile away, and Maurice's lifestyle makes it impossible for him to use this particular deflection strategy. When you're regularly posting content that showcases a life of comfort and adventure, you can't simultaneously claim that wedding expenses are beyond your reach. It's insulting to everyone's intelligence and particularly hurtful to the woman who's waiting for you to prioritize her the way you clearly prioritize your travel experiences and lifestyle maintenance. At 35, Maurice has reached an age where the typical excuses men use to avoid marriage start sounding hollow and unconvincing. He's not a young man who needs time to mature, establish his career, or figure out what he wants in life. He's not dealing with the financial instability that might reasonably delay major life decisions. He's not lacking in relationship experience or unclear about what marriage entails. At this stage of life, continued hesitation about commitment suggests either serious reservations about the specific relationship or a fundamental reluctance to embrace married life that's unlikely to change regardless of how long Paul waits. Perhaps the most heartbreaking possibility is that Maurice might be engaging in what relationship experts call strategic stalling, maintaining the relationship not because he sees a future in it, but because it's comfortable and convenient while he waits for Paul to eventually get tired and move on. This scenario allows him to avoid being the bad guy who ends things directly while also avoiding the commitment he's not ready to make. It's a passive approach that puts all the emotional burden on Paul to either accept the indefinite status quo or make the difficult decision to walk away from someone she clearly cares about deeply. The entire situation has become a real-life example of why relationship experts consistently advise women to pay attention to actions rather than words, and to trust patterns rather than promises. Pearl what appears to be a genuinely nice person who deserves to be with someone who sees her value immediately and acts on it without hesitation. She deserves a man who doesn't need years to decide if she's worth marrying, who doesn't make her feel like she has to prove her worthiness through cooking videos and public displays of devotion, and who doesn't leave her friends questioning the authenticity of their relationship. The cooking video incident inadvertently revealed the gap between perception and reality in Pearl's relationship, showing that even her closest friends might harbor doubts about the narrative she's trying to present to the world. When someone is genuinely happy and secure in their relationship, their friends typically reflect that confidence and support the story being told. When friends react with skepticism and pointed questions, it often indicates that the private reality doesn't match the public presentation, and that those who know the situation intimately can see cracks that aren't visible to casual observers. The story of Maurice, Sam and Pearl what has become a mirror in which many people see their own relationship struggles reflected, making it impossible to discuss without triggering personal memories and emotions. It's a reminder that love alone isn't enough to create the relationship we want, it also requires mutual commitment, shared vision for the future, and the courage to either fully invest or honestly walk away. As this drama continues to unfold in the public eye, perhaps the most important lesson is that everyone involved deserves to be in relationships where they don't have to beg for the love and commitment they are freely giving. So what do you think? Is Maurice Sam really just taking his time, or is Pearl what fighting a battle that's already lost? Have you ever found yourself in a similar situation, or watched a friend go through this kind of relationship limbo? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to share this post with that friend who needs to read it. Sometimes the most loving thing we can do is help each other see the truth we've been avoiding. Hit that subscribe button for more honest conversations about love, relationships, and the messy reality behind the fairy tale narratives we tell ourselves.